Okay, this is what you need to use. How would I use this film? Because given my druthers, I would probably choose something slightly different that has a different organizational thread to it, because that fits better with my teaching and the way I understand my students' thinking to be. But I wanted to focus on this film, and the reason why they made it very accessible and very inexpensive was so that it could be used in different curriculums. So I thought, well, why don't I walk through what I would do in my classroom? And so the first thing I want to say to you is, like, today we're doing a unit about birth and about what's important. And I would like you to put on your hat as if you were 17 to 19 years old. Okay, so when you were that age. And I'm going to ask you some questions. And the first is, what do you know about birth or think you might know about childbirth? What do you know? So, or think you might know about birth. So as a 17 to 19-year-old, how might you have answered?
It hurts.
It hurts. Okay. What else? One thing you should know is that extroverts will think of something right away and blurt it out of their mouth. And introverts will think about the question for a while and reflect, and then they'll say something. So if you're a person who tends to reflect first, it's fine, because sometimes we'll be on a different conversation and then you'll have a great answer to the first question. Please just pipe up with that, okay? Because we need our thinkers and reflectors as much as we need the people who say something right away, because when I'm standing up here asking a question and nobody says anything, then I feel like an idiot. So we need both people. So it's traumatizing, this lady says here. So as a 17 to 19-year-old, what did you know or think you knew about birth? That's the question.
Scary.
Okay, it's scary.
There's lots of breathing.
Lots of breathing involved. Okay.
Absolutely nothing.
So you knew nothing. Is it?
Embarrassing.
Okay, it's embarrassing.
Fun process.
It's a fun process. Having the baby or getting the baby in?
Good point.
Okay.
That's the reason we're positive.
I saw somebody else with a hand up.
Excitement.
Excitement? Yep. Good point.
Doctors, a lot of doctors.
Okay, so there's lots of doctors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say go to the hospital in Florida.
Go to the hospital.
17 and 18, I would think about expenses, how expensive it is.
Okay. So that it's costly. Would that be accurate? Okay.
Your water will break.
Okay, water breaks. What does that mean? That sounds weird. Okay.
There's stirrups involved.
Stirrups.
They just knock you out.
Okay.
No,
Knock
that's
you
fine.
out, so you don't have to feel anything.
Right.
And there's kind of no value in feeling anything.
Yeah, you don't, yeah, then it's gonna be okay, because they'll just knock you out.
Okay.
Or put you out or whatever.
Knock you out, and it will be okay. I think that it will be okay because they'll just knock you out. I like that. There's a whole thought there. Okay. Yes.
That it can take a long time, the actual birth itself.
It can take a long time. Okay.
17, I probably think is gross or messy.
Mhm. There's somebody.
Being the provider, not the baby coming out, but like having that.
I put down some person between your legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of confusion, like, how does it even work?
You So a lot of confusion, like how does it even work? Okay, that's great. So the next question I have to say is, why is birth important? As a 17 to 19-year-old, why is birth important to men or to women?
My first thought is back when I was 17, like, well, we need more people to, like, you know,
That's
further
how you
the
get more
species.
people.
Yes.
Okay, how do you get more people?
How to carry on your family,
Okay, carry on your family.
which is,
Babysitting job?
Babysitting job. Somebody else in the back of the room, have their hand up. Okay, so,
I would say it's my responsibility if I'm 17 years old.
okay.
It's my
Your responsibility is expected of you?
It would be expected that I
Okay.
would birth a baby if I was pregnant with one.
Okay. What about personal? So these are really abstract kind of thoughts. Do you think it might have occurred to you that there was anything personally important or meaningful about childbirth? I mean, I remember I was a couple I was babysitting for at 15, and she had a copy of Birth Without Violence. And they already had 3 kids. And I was bored one night, because back then you only had 3 TV stations, okay? So, and the president was on, that was it. So I remember I was looking through, and I found Birth Without Violence, and they're holding this baby upside down. And I was like, well, why would you do that? So I had a great deal of curiosity, and if I look at what was the first thing, that was probably the first thing for me, because I was just naturally a curious person. And it made me wonder, anybody, so, could you think of any reason why birth might be personally meaningful? Any people in your life?
it might reinforce your relationship with your significant.
Okay. So we said reinforce relationship with your significant, your partner. Let's
Yeah.
use that word.
That's of
I also like to use the word beloved sometimes,
Yeah.
or sometimes I use the word mate, depends upon who I'm talking to.
Maybe wanting to give your children a better experience than you had.
Mhm. So I think we can agree that for most young people today, the idea that birth could have anything personally meaningful as a man or a woman, it seems real distant. It's not a part of their mindset. And that birth overall is scary, it's uncertain, that you're not sure about what's going to happen, that most of these things are either vague or confusing or much more negative. Okay? I don't think that's at all unreasonable or unusual for young people today. I teach at Madison College, so I have people anywhere between 17 and 30. I teach human sexuality classes and also psychology of human relationships. In my HS class, I get mostly students who are in freshman, sophomore that intend to go into a 4-year school. In Psych of Human Relations, I get students who are in programs. So they're there to get their program certificate and then enter a career. So 2 different groups of students. And usually at least a quarter of them already have a child, sometimes a third. And I don't think that having had a child changes this in some way, except there's this vague sense of should have been better, or there was something missing, or I didn't think it was going to be as important as it was, or it was a really big deal. And I didn't know it was really going to be that big a deal, and I don't know quite what to do with what happened to me. Make sense? Does that happen with the same people you talked to? Okay, good. All right. Then the last question I have for you is, why is birth done the way it is? So why do we do birth the way we do in America? What would you assume?
Insurance.
So, so you would say it's done because of money.
It's birth and how it's done.
Time is money.
Okay, so money. So that would have, yeah. Somebody else?
Fear of complications.
Fear of complications.
Insurance. Their
Okay,
policies.
insurance. So I'm thinking now still as a 17 to 19 year old.
Oh.
These are the things that would occur to you.
No.
So why would you assume birth is done the way it is?
It's the safest.
Safety, because it's the safest.
Everybody
Right.
does it.
Everybody, right, everybody does it that way, so that's that ethnocentricity. Everybody must do it the way we do it. And the way we do it must be the best because it's the safest. Okay? All right. So the film I have to share with you today is going to portray some things that are going to go against with maybe the way that you've been raised, the way that you've been thinking about things. The way that this film is done is it's kind of like a long trailer. It has a lot of separate thoughts, but without a strong organizational thread. It's not going to tell you what to think. It's just going to share with you what different people's experiences have been, and also with people who've been studying birth for a long time, what they have to say about the way birth is done in the U.S. So that's the first part of it. And then we're going to stop there, we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to there's going to be a PowerPoint presentation which is going to go through all of the statistics and all of the facts that support the experiences that people have had. Okay? Does anybody have any questions before we get started?